Hey everyone, it's Susan Pierce Thompson and welcome to the weekly vlog. I want to start off this vlog by telling you what happened to me last night. So yesterday my husband David went out of town and without me and I was left behind. I do this to him all the time, so it's kind of funny that I'm talking about it like that, but I was left behind with our three precious little kids. And yeah, so I decided to take the kids out to dinner with a couple of friends of mine, one of whom also has little girls, exactly my girl's age. So it was fun. There was 8 of us going out to dinner. And it was a great night. And we drove up to the restaurant and I got out of the truck, the SUV, and I noticed that there was a thing sticking out of the tire. Like a nail, except it was like a furniture thumbtack, but when I pulled it out of the tire, I know you're saying, don't pull the nail out of the tire. You're not supposed to pull the nail out of the tire. When I pulled the nail out of the tire, I didn't know like if it was just a thing that could come off easily, but anyway, I pulled it out and it had this white cap and this long spire. And air started to rush out of my tire. So my friend pulls up and she's about to go to the restaurant. I'm like, hey, I have she's like, don't pull the nail out of the tire. I was like, right, don't pull the nail out of the tire. So I push the nail back in the tire. We go have dinner, which was lovely. And then like on the way out, I'm just facing, now it's late, it's a school night. I've got a car with a nail in the tire. My spouse is out of town. Like for me, husband out of town plus car troubles equals nightmare. Like that's just not a good thing. So my friend is really sweet and she offers to caravan with us so I can drop off my car at the, repair place, which is great. And luckily the air stayed in the tire. I'm making this a longer story than it needs to be. Suffice it to say I was agitated and I had 3 little kids, 9, 9, and 6. And like, it's challenging with 3 kids that age. And it was a rough evening. And I was trying to figure out, the next day I had a bunch of videos to shoot, like this one. And I had a lot of stuff on my calendar. And how am I going to figure out getting back to the car play? It's just everything. It just felt like a lot. So as we leave and also in the restaurant, like my kids don't do bright line eating, so they get the kids meal, which of course comes with the little kids dessert and all that. So I'm sitting there all through this meal, faced with a bunch of food that's not my food. And I'm agitated trying to figure out how I'm going to navigate the next couple days with this car issue and this nail in my tire. And so as I'm leaving the restaurant, I sit in my car and I get on my iPhone into our online support community, our Bright Lifers online support community, and I post about it. I'm like, my husband's out of town, there's a nail in my tire, I got all this stuff to do tomorrow, and like basically I'm thinking about going home and eating like a bunch of food that's not my food. It's my kids' food, but it's not my food, and I was thinking about eating it. And I posted this in the online support community. Even just posting it, all of a sudden I started to turn the corner to the other side of that insanity and those cravings. And I drove to the car place, filled out the paperwork, dropped the key in the mailbox, and I get into my friend's car. Thank God she was there and was willing to help me out. Just, oh, thank God for friends. And I got into her car with my 3 kids now, and I opened the online support community and I already have 35 comments. Like it's been 10 minutes. I already have 35 comments on my post. People sending love, people sending support. One person was cute. We talk about resuming in the Bright Line Eating community, like, if you fall off your food plan, resume. She's like, Susan, let's see more Zoom than resume tonight. I want to see that Zoom, not so much resume. It was really funny. Anyway, some of these comments were really funny. Some of them were really heartwarming. And they were coming in at a pace of like 1 every 10 seconds. Like they were just coming in so fast, these comments. I was reading them out loud to my friend. And suddenly I felt fine. Like, yeah, it was really powerful. Suddenly I got home. I didn't eat off my plan. I wasn't, like it was over, the thought. I set up a contest with my kids with a timer to see who could do their bath the fastest. So we whipped through those baths, and now I'm tucking my sweet girls into bed and, tickling their backs and reading to them. And my 9-year-olds are on a Harry Potter tear. They're reading like a Harry Potter book every 3 days. Like they're just pouring through them. So they just wanted to read their books. And anyway, it was a sweet night. And, you know, now it's vlog day, and I just wanted to reflect because I know that, you know, people are considering right now whether to hop into the Bright Line Eating Bootcamp. And I just wanted to, like, put a plug in for our online support community. There's nothing like it. There is nothing like it. I've done 12-step programs. I've worked the 12 steps in 5 different 12-step programs. I am certifiable. And I've been to group therapy. I've been to personal therapy. I've been to hypnotherapy. I've been to, you know, support, you know, pregnancy moms, birthing classes, you know, classes. I've been to, you know, I've done so, you know, workshops, everything. And I'm telling you, the Bright Line Eating online support community is just, it's just second to none. And I want to tell you a little bit about the history of it. It started off with the first boot camp that we did, which was, you know, as I'm recording this, 3 years ago. In October of 2014 was the first boot camp, so fall, 3 years ago. And I started, you know, a little online support community, you know, in Facebook, for a Facebook group for us all to stay together. And at the end of that boot camp, this woman, Lyndon, sort of took it upon herself to just keep it going. She just like, she'd already been sort of a really, just a daily poster in there. And she became our first, what we now call house leader, but she's now actually the leader of our online support communities. She's now, you know, she works for Bright Line Eating, and she organizes and runs our online support communities. And what happens now is with the boot camps that we run, we notice who's posting a lot. And we select them out for what's called VIP poster status, which means the next time we run a boot camp, they can get in for free, and we seed them in the community. Like, it's sort of like making yogurt, how you take yeast, you know, you can take yeast and put it in fresh, you know, milk or soy milk or whatever you're going to make your yogurt with, or you can take some other yogurt, right? You can take a little bit of yogurt and put it in there, because those cultures will seed the new yogurt. And that's kind of what we do with our online support communities. We seed the community with these VIP posters. These are people who embody the love and the acceptance and the tolerance and the supportiveness and the presence that typifies just the generosity of heart that typifies our online support community, because people come here from all over. Some come strong, some come wounded, some come, you know, able to give, some come, you know, really needy of attention, some come with lots of social skills, and some come with spines and bristles. And, you know, we have an online support community where some people are paleo and some people are whole food plant-based. And, you know, some people are Republican and some people are Democrat. And we don't, you know, we don't talk about any of that stuff. That stuff for sure we keep out of our online support community. But I'm saying, like, we come with a lot of ways that we could disagree about stuff. And we have a way in Bright Line Eating of making this community a safe harbor, just a safe, special place for people. And, you know, another one is the God, no God thing, right? Like, you know, some people really have a spiritual perspective or a religious faith being sort of at the center of their Bright Line Eating program. And for other people, that's very off-putting. And they don't, you know, they don't want to be told, I'm praying for you. You know, like, they're like, you know, if they're an atheist, that's not the kind of support they need. And we find our way to just meet people where they're at and give them love, just pure love and support. It's interesting, but one of the biggest, I don't want to call it a divide because I don't think we have divides, but one of the biggest differences in our community are, you know, people who stick with their bright lines without exception, never break, and people who struggle and are resuming. And what's interesting is how well I think we meet the needs of both of those groups. I think if anything, we bend over backwards to meet the needs of anyone who's struggling and resuming, because that's such a tender, challenging place to be in. And it's so easy to just pull into isolation and try to, like, sort it out yourself and not show up in the community until you're whole and well again and until you have a celebration to share. And so we really bend over backwards to make sure that our online support community is safe for people who are struggling with their food. And yet, you know, Lynn Colston, who's the head of the Bright Lifers Facebook page, which is after the boot camp, there's Bright Lifers. She reports that she counted up posts the other day, and she did it on a weekend and a weekday, and she found that there was a ratio of 20-to-1 posts of celebrations versus struggles. 20-to-1. People are posting their celebrations. They're posting, you know, I've lost 100 pounds, I'm on day 600, you know, whatever their celebration is. And it's interesting because I hear a lot that people feel like there's a lot of resuming in the Facebook group, which is interesting because it's actually 20-to-1 celebrations to struggles. So I think we do a good job of making space for both of those things. And in the boot camp, I mentioned the VIP posters, but we actually hire 2 house leaders for each boot camp house. So a house is capped at, you know, just the right size so that it's big enough that when you post something you get a lot of comments and a lot of likes, and it's small enough so that you don't feel like you're swimming in a sea of, you know, strangers. So we've figured out what the ideal size is, and we cap each group to that size. And Lyndon, who now, you know, selects and curates our house leaders and our VIP posters, she gets hundreds of applications each time she opens up the gates. Hundreds of applications, because people just have fallen in love with the support they get in the Brightline Eating community, and they so want to be there to give that gift to the next group. So I just want to give an expression of gratitude, just a shout out to our house leaders, because you are some of the most amazing people I've ever met. And I'm so grateful that you carry the torch of the love and acceptance and compassion and just pure unbridled support and affection that we pour on our new boot campers. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for bringing that forward to the thousands of people that we're now serving. We really go to great lengths to make sure that our boot campers get an incredible experience. And as someone myself who continues to be the recipient of the love that exists in our online support community, because when I struggle, and I think some of our new Bright Lifers are kind of surprised that I show up there, you know, with my derriere in my hands going, help. I do sometimes. I totally do. Like when I need support, I go into the Bright Lifers community and I post and I get my love, I get my support. And as someone who's the recipient of that, you know, all of those VIP posters, all of those house leaders, they're in Bright Lifers. So our Bright Lifers community is like this overflowing place where all the rock stars, you know, come and schmooze together, because we've been doing Brightline Eating for a while, and it's, yeah, our community is just second to none. So, yeah, I'm just feeling really, really grateful for our online support community. And, you know, I have taught positive psychology at the college level for many years. I'm now teaching a course here in Brightline Eating called Brightline Mind, which is my old college positive psychology course, presented here for our community. It's wonderful. I'm just teaching it for the first time here, and we're about 2/3 of the way through it. But anyway, I teach positive psychology, and some of the professors of positive psychology, like the real luminaries, like the author of the textbook that we use, for example, in my course, he was asked, you know, if you could sum up positive psychology as briefly as possible, what would you say? And he said, I can do it in 3 words. And they said, really? He said, all of positive psychology in 3 words. And they said, all right, lay them on us. What is it? And he said, other people matter. He said, basically, the strongest findings in positive psychology are all around the effect of being with other people, the effect of social support, the effect of leaning in, the effect of getting that love, the effect of connection. It's the most potent happiness booster there is. It's the most potent healer there is. It's the most potent thing for our minds, for our bodies, for our spirits, all of it. It's being connected to other people. So, you know, if you've got the book, Brightline Eating, if you've done the 14-day challenge, which you do on your own, and you're wondering what's different about the boot camp, I'm telling you, other people matter. It's a very different thing doing the boot camp with a cohort of people than doing it on your own. And, you know, we opened registration a couple days ago for, you know, what's probably going to be the biggest boot camp ever. And what's interesting is we had hundreds of registrants on opening day, and about half of them were people who've already done the boot camp. Now, we have stats on those people. It's not, they're not doing it again because they're not successful. They are successful. And as a matter of fact, many of them, if maybe even most of them, are already at goal weight. And they're doing the boot camp again because of the experience. It's kind of like, would you go to Disney World again? Well, yeah. Even if you've already got, you know, the Disney movies on DVD, well, yeah. Like, Disney World is an experience. Like, you go again. Even if you already have all kinds of Disney, you know, memorabilia, paraphernalia, DVDs in your house, you know, going to Disney World is an experience. And people talk about the Bright Line Eating Bootcamp as this experience. And they do it again. Like, we have people who've done 5 boot camps. They do it again. They love it. They even have the recordings. Like, they could go through the boot camp on their own. And some people do. They call it a reboot. They'll grab a few friends and go through the boot camp on their own. But people like to hop into it for real. Why? Because of the support, the community that they get to be a part of. And, you know, and this time I think we're offering, if you haven't seen what we're offering for this bootcamp, go ahead and click down below and you can see the video of me explaining. At the end, I talk about this special bonus. We've thrown in a special bonus for this bootcamp that we're never gonna offer again. This bonus package is never coming back again. And I think actually that's why a lot of the old faithful Bright Lifers and stuff are hopping into this bootcamp, because they want that bonus. So anyway, that's probably why a lot of them. But we see so many people doing multiple bootcamps because of the community. It's the support. It's the community. So anyway, I picked up my car this morning. It's fine. They replaced 2 tires and gave it an alignment. They needed an alignment, and it's fine. $600 later, it's fine. And the shuttle came and got me this morning. It's fine. And I wouldn't have made it. I would have been in the food last night if it weren't for that online support community. I know, as someone experienced with Bright Line Eating, I know where to get my support. And I know how to stay close to the mothership. And that Bright Line Eating online support community, that's the mothership. And I stay close. So anyway, if you haven't experienced the Bright Line Eating online support community, I really invite you to click down below. Just take a watch of that video, see if it's for you. And I really hope that I will see you in our Bright Lifers community at some point in the future. That's where you'll see me posting my underbelly. I know I share my underbelly here too, but if you really want to see my underbelly, hop into the Bright Lifers community, and hopefully I'll see you there. And either way, I'll see you next week.